These are things that you should try to get specific about. Work with your buyer's agent or whoever the partner is, an accountant, broker, whoever you're chatting with. Be as specific as you possibly can and make sure every step you take is towards that goal from there. If it had been a different experience where I was a bit underwhelmed, I'm probably not going again. But in terms of the growth, yes, I did run some valuations. It's gone up between 5 to 7%. I'm a realist. I'm not playing the short-term game. I want to be in it.
We believe every Australian deserves a right to own at the very least 5 investment properties. I'm Adrian Trimboli.
And I'm Frank Ambezi, and welcome to the Invest in You podcast.
Mr. Jackson, welcome, my friend.
Adrian, pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much. To all the listeners, Mr. Jackson came to us as a broker. We sent clients to yourself, mate. Then turned into a client and now have become a very good friend. So, mate, I'm pumped for this very short 10, 15-minute chat just to let the listeners know a bit about your experience, but, mate, in a quick 10, 15-second little blurb of yourself, who you are, what you do, and then we'll get into it, mate.
Yeah, obviously you mentioned I'm a broker. I work at Investify. We're a team of young, energetic, up-and-coming brokers. There's 4 or 5 of us in the office with some support staff there, and we're all investors in the office. So you mentioned that we obviously worked together previously, and we've got a great relationship between our 2 businesses and looking to obviously continue that for many years to come. So I've bought my first property with you guys, which I'm sure we'll cover earlier this year. So I feel like I've got the experience now, which I can then in turn help the clients through, which I feel has been invaluable for me. And other than that, just a normal guy, love my sport, love my music. And great to be here with you, mate.
Beautiful, mate. Let's get into it. Obviously, you're in the space, right? You see buyers agents and you see property and you're dealing with property all day, every day. Why not do this yourself? Ultimately, not why not do this yourself? Maybe 2 questions in the one. Kind of the problems you were facing in this space to go out and start building your portfolio. And then top of that, why not just do this yourself because you're around it all so often?
Yeah, great question. I'll touch on the first one, the barriers first. One of the biggest barriers for me was time. And I remember chatting to you in the early stages around how much time we actually have as brokers. And I'm sure other brokers that may be listening, they know pretty well that we're very time poor. So that was one of the biggest barriers for me. I didn't have time to put the necessary amount of time into the research, into the area sourcing, into all the criteria that goes into selecting a property. And then further to that, I remember sort of working with you guys at the early stages, seeing some of the deals that you guys were doing and pushing through. And I'm going, geez, first of all, these guys are finding properties within a week and a half to 2 weeks, sometimes sooner, for when we send them the pre-approval. These yields that are coming back are huge. We're seeing the growth. And I started to see that over and over. And then the decision to use you guys became really clear and quite easy for me in the end. So seeing that there and understanding, okay, I don't have the time to go down, put the ear to the ground. These guys are obviously out there. They've got boots on ground. They're doing the research. They go down to the minute detail. Knowing I would have that behind me, it just became a really easy decision in the end.
Yep. Awesome. I love it. I guess from your end, right, and only because this specifically happened to you, right? A lot of clients, and again, you see it, so this is potentially the reason why this is a little different. A lot of clients are hesitant to go for property number 2 or, continue to build that portfolio. I remember when I told you, hey, mate, we're going to start looking at P2, and we are very soon going to start looking at P2. You didn't hesitate at all. You were very, very quick to move. Tell me about that.
Well, I think one of the biggest things is having your clear plan in place. So one thing you guys do is send out the 10-year plan, which obviously the client is completely on board with, and they're actually able to maneuver that as per their preferences. So once you've got that in place, it sort of sets the roadmap for what you're going to do going forward.
Yep.
And that was just a logical next step. We'd obviously gone through that first one, signed on again and said, yep, straight away. Experience was great, which is obviously a big factor in that decision. If it had been a different experience where I was a bit underwhelmed, I'm probably not going again. But because of how good the experience was and how the property I've currently got is performing, again, the decision was easy.
Cool. How about the learning curve throughout? Now, again, you are in the industry, you see property all day, every day. I'm sure that you learned a ton just from being part of the Fresh Up program or being in the process. If you had to nail it down to, I don't know, 2 to 3 things that you've taken away, what would you say that would be?
So is this more in the experience of going through and partnering with the buyer's agent specifically, or just the process of the transaction itself?
It's either. It was a fresh start, and I guess the research and whatnot. Yeah.
Yep. I think the biggest thing with fresh start is the team. That's the biggest thing, because the second you sign on, you go into the group chat where you've got a number of people that are available to you basically all the time. As soon as there's an update coming in, and I remember I was away on holidays at the time, and I was getting calls from Helen and Chris at the time, and the guys were just all over it. It wasn't, hey, where are we at with this? 3-4 days go by, you don't hear anything. It was instant. As soon as an update came through, like for example, Chris would be chatting with the sellers and the agents, and the second after he'd get off the call, he'd be on the phone to me straight away, relaying everything. So you're almost getting the real-time updates, which to me was massive.
Yep.
That was one of the biggest takeaways. Also, just having the sort of nous to find the property, and this is sort of specific to my property potentially, is that the guys were able to find the ability to get a dual income coming in. They saw that attraction for the property, and they then sort of walked me through that, how it would look going forward. So in the end, I've actually got 2 incomes coming in off the one property on the one title. So which was just huge. And just having the nous to find that opportunity and then sort of relay that over to me and how that would build into my plan was enormous.
Love it. Love it. 2 crackers. I love it. Now being on the other side of it, so now prepping to go for P2, property 2, sorry. For P1, you've kind of just mentioned it then, but results of property 1. I don't know if you've done valuations yet. I'm not sure. I really have no idea. But if you have, how's that looking? And obviously it's 2 rents, 2 properties, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, the rent's been the biggest thing. It's been the biggest upside in the meantime, especially when I've purchased the property and rates probably went up another 3 or 4 times since. That was massive in terms of maintaining a buffer and keeping it very close to neutral. But in terms of the growth, yes, I did run some valuations. It's gone up between 5 to 7% since we bought it in. It would have settled in March this year, which is solid growth in a very short space of time. So I'm a realist. I'm not playing the short-term game. I want to be in a time in the market, not timing of the market. So I want to be in this property long as I possibly can, get as much out of it as I can. And obviously just keep revisiting any clients that are out there that have another broker or whoever you are using us, always reach out and say, hey, where's the property at? Let's run some valuations and see if we can pull equity, because that can be a real big trigger and enable you to go again for your next purchase a lot sooner.
Yep. Little plug here. Not that this is what the whole thing is for. You guys have been excellent in helping, probably close to 50, 60 of our clients in being proactive with that. So yeah, if anyone is looking for a broker whilst listening to this, you guys are excellent. So thank you for that. Okay, so that's not bad. That's 5-7% growth in the 6 or so months that you've had the property, which is nice, with also an exceptional yield. That's awesome.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Mate, I'd like to finish off these calls with a few lessons or a few little bits of advice that you would give anyone who was in the same position like yourself 6-7 months ago, who was kind of on the fence of potentially joining Fresh Start or not. Try and go back in time. But if you could give any lessons or any bits of advice to that viewer, the person listening, what would those be?
I think the biggest thing is to have clear goals and a plan set out and be real specific about them. So I know it may be your first purchase. You don't really understand the world of it yet. But if you've got that map and strategy and you can keep refining that, like for example, have you got an end cash flow target for your property? Have you got a end property portfolio value target? These are things that you should try to get specific about. Work with your buyer's agent or whoever the partner is, an accountant, broker, whoever you're chatting with. Be as specific as you possibly can and make sure every step you take is towards that goal from there. Get a good team around you is another thing. I'm a broker, so I was very lucky. I'm obviously working in an office with a bunch of investors who have got a ton of experience. So I'm very lucky from that standpoint. I was also very lucky to end up working with you guys in the end who also have a ton of experience. So I had a lot of people around me that were guiding me through it and basically walked me through every step of the way, which was enormous. You've also got your accountant as well, who also plays a big role. These are all people that can form your team around you and make sure that you're making the right decisions at the end of the day. Also important, don't just have these sort of team members in different little silos. Have everyone streamlined with your plan. Make sure everybody knows what your plan and your strategy is, and everybody's moving towards that would be the biggest thing.
There you go. So for the viewers who listen to me harp on, I didn't pay Jackson to say that, right? Everyone, I harp on time and time again about team and plan. More so the plan. The fact that you've gone through the entire process and you're now on the back of that, it's said the exact same thing. and did not get paid to do that. My team were very happy. So thank you again, my friend, for this short, sweet 10 to 15 minutes. But yeah, I appreciate you for the ongoing support you give our clients. I appreciate the fact that, you decided to work with Fresh Start with having so many buyers agents around you and being in the industry. But I'm excited for property 2. I'm excited for property 3, excited for the next 10 to 15 years. And for anyone who is wanting awesome team of brokers who genuinely care and are ethical, hit up Jackson. We'll get his contact details on this podcast at Investify. But thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Adrian. Great to chat, mate.
Take care. Bye-bye.